Guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make this card. It's actually for my students. I teach, I teach special needs children that have autism, but I actually make cards for everyone who's on my floor. So there's some severe and profound and intellectually disabled children. So I make the same goodie bag for all of them, mine and the kids across the hall. But anyways, I needed something that could be for a boy or a girl that I could mass produce because there's quite a few of them. So talking to one of the ladies at my local scrapbook store, she told me there was these cute images on, gosh, what was the name of the website? letteringdelights.com. I'll put it down at the bottom. I thought they just made fonts because I haven't been to their website in years. And I think it used to be called Scrap and Fonts. But she told me about some things they had of little images of bugs and frogs and stuff that could work for a boy. So I'm going to go ahead and get started making a shaped card that I can mass produce. And the idea for this actually came from a Christina Warner Make a Card Monday video from a long time ago. And she made a card where the top part was rounded. And I thought to myself, I wonder if you could do that with a shape. Instead of, a square and a circle, weld a shape in a square. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. As you can see up here, I'm actually using the designer edition of Silhouette Studio. I went ahead and, bit the bullet and bought it during the Black Friday promotion when it was 40% off. So if you missed out, keep your eyes peeled. I'm sure it'll come around again. I would definitely say it's worth the 30 some odd dollars, the 50, not so sure I could say it's worth yet. But it definitely has some more features. So my menu bar up here in the top right hand corner when I'm using my Mac will look different. It'll look the same as regular Silhouette when I'm on my PC, which is rare, but just a side note. So anyways, for this card, I'm actually going to be using an SVG from Lettering Delights. And unfortunately, every time I open it, it opens a new tab. So I already opened the Catch the Christmas Bug, which is the first part I'm going to use. I'm going to go to File, Open, and try to find the other little bug. And I think he might be number 4. Nope, that's not him. So I'm going to close him. Before, maybe he's number 3. Yep, that's him right there. Okay, so I'm going to right click, cut him away, and then paste him on my original page so I can start building my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is just scale this guy down and move him out of the way because I don't need him yet. And I'm going to take this little guy and scale him down as well so that he's about 3 by 2.5 inches. That looks about right. Okay, now I'm going to go over to my toolbar on the left and I'm going to draw a rectangle with rounded edges. And it doesn't have to be perfect because I can click on it and just resize it. Okay, now I'm going to grab this. And I need this to fit in the bottom part of the card. So I'm going to highlight this whole thing and see how tall it is. It can't be any bigger than 7 inches or it won't fit in their treat bags. So I'm going to go ahead and size that up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I take that back. So I'm going to hit Control Z and let it put it all back. I'm just going to resize this part to get this to fit. You saw I grabbed the bottom edge of that Catch the Christmas Bug and it distorted my image a little bit. So I'm just going to move this around a little bit. Okay. So this looks like about the right size for my card. I'm going to make sure it's not too big. So I could go a little bit bigger on my sentiment and on my rectangle. Now let's make sure that's not ginormous. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, so this is what basically the front of my card is going to look like. So I'm going to move this back away because I don't need this right now. And I'm going to take my image and I'm going to drag all the way around it just so I can get a reference for how big it is before I go any further to make sure it's not going to be too big. And it looks fine. So now I'm going to select my bug. I'm going to go up to the offset feature because I want him to have a little bit of a shadow around him. And I'm going to click offset. And you can see it made an offset of everything, every piece of him, which is on this SVG, which I don't need. So I'm actually just going to take the offset distance arrow keys and make him smaller. I'm going to make him quite a bit smaller. It's going to be almost 1/10 of an inch, which doesn't sound like much, but it'll be enough when you see the finished card. Actually, I'm going to go smaller than 1/10. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So now I can move this guy away because I'm done with him for now. I'm not going to resize him, I'm just going to move him away. And I'm going to highlight this entire image. And now I'm going to right click and go down to weld. And this is the same weld feature that's up here, but that's just a shorter way to get to it. So you could have went up here to your modify window and then clicked on weld, but I just right click because it's faster. So now I have my card front, but I need the back of the card so I can fold it in half. So I'm going to go up to the replicate window here. It looks like a flower. And my image is already selected, and I'm going to tell the software to mirror the same thing left. And that's going to be the back of my card when I fold it. And I'm going to take my arrow keys because it's already highlighted, and I'm going to click over once or twice, depending on how far you need to go, so that the two cards are actually touching. And I'm going to highlight both, right click again, and go to weld. Again, if you rather go to the modify window and click on weld, it's the same thing. Just make sure you have both images highlighted. So now that I have that part done, I'm going to go down and push him over to the side and make sure my little bug will still fit. And that looks perfect. So I'm going to drag this over here to the side and put my Christmas cheer back. Or catch the Christmas bug back. And you know what? I'm going to place him in here just so I can make sure my placement here is right, because I'm actually going to print this out. Okay. Now, looking at this, you probably think, okay, I can go ahead, I can cut, and I can print it. But one thing you have to be careful of when you make things yourself is what the software is actually going to print and what it's actually going to cut. I can already tell just by looking at this, if I print this out, it's going to print this red line. And this is just a lesson I've learned over time the hard way. So I'm going to highlight this image, and I'm going to go to my line colors up here. It's a bunch, it looks like a little rainbow. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to select a color that's not really going to show up, and it's this light gray. Now, if you look, you can barely see it, and I can change the line thickness, but I'd rather it be that faint so it's not going to show in my final project. Now, I'm going to go up to my cut file, and I'm going to see what's going to cut out. Now, if you look, my bug is not selected. The red line is everywhere it's going to cut. I wanted to cut this card out, but I also wanted to cut this bug out. So I need to click on him, and on the right-hand side where it says cut style, I need to go to cut edge. And that will cut around him after I print him out. So if I don't go to cut edge and I go to regular cut, it's going to cut all his pieces out. And as small as they are, the silhouette can actually do it. So make sure it's on cut edge. And everything I see right now outlined in red is going to cut out. But I'm going to use this as a print and cut file. so I can mass produce this. So I'm going to go over to my registration marks window, and I'm going to click show registration marks. Now, I have some stuff in the crosshatch areas. This is a no-no zone, these gray crosshatches. So I'm going to move my bug over here as far as he'll go. And then I'm going to highlight this entire image, the card and the catch the bug sentiment. Right click, and then I'm going to group it together so I can move it all as one unit and drag him over so he's out of the danger zone. All right, so now I have my card and my little guy that I'm going to pop dot off and my sentiment in the middle. So I'm going to send this to silhouette, and I'll be right back. And I'm going to double check that everything that I need to cut is going to cut, and it is. And the reason it's important you do this is because I swore when I first got my silhouette, side story, that it was broken, because I would click over here on the little yellow and gray thing, I'd click send to silhouette and nothing would happen. It would say cut complete, and I thought, oh my god, it's broken. No, I had all the cut lines turned off, so that's important. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to send this to silhouette, and I will be right back. Alright, so I have my pieces. I also made a frog one off camera. He's just going to pop out like that. But anyways, I made my pieces, and they're just going to pop up here. And I'm really digging this new adhesive they're using on the mats, because the stuff stays when it cuts and it pops off when it needs to pop off. You can see my mat's gotten quite the abuse already, and this is one of the new ones that doesn't have the green strip.